job. Now what? Gregory's real transformational journey started the day he was promoted to lead goose. Most humans don't know that geese get promoted. After all, geese don't move to a bigger office, and the sign on the door doesn't change. There's no big paycheck. Becoming the lead goose happens over time, through careful observation of other lead geese. Gregory had studied all his life, and knew the power rules instinctively well. Or so he thought. Rule number 1. Power comes from how strongly you flap your wings. Gregory had become quite good at reading the subtle power signs. For one, there was a special way that geese flapped their wings. Powerful flaps pushed the other geese away, giving the goose a larger space to feed in. Gregory had studied this wing flapping, preparing for the time when he would be the most powerful goose in the pond. Flapping strongly was power, or so he thought. Rule number 2. Power comes from how loudly you honk. In the beginning, Gregory thought all honks were alike. He soon realized that the lead geese seemed to have a different honk. It got louder and lasted longer, letting other geese know who had the power. Sometimes during the day, Gregory would seek out less powerful geese and honk them away, testing his newfound powers. Honking loudly was power, or so he thought. Rule number 3. Power comes from how much you honk. It was more than just loud honking that caught his attention. The more powerful geese also honked more often, causing the other geese to become silent. Gregory started to practice power honking every day, and as he did, he discovered he was moving up the pecking order. Or so he thought. Rule number 4. Power comes from how well you strut. Gregory noticed the powerful geese had a way of lifting their legs above the rushes and the rocks when they strutted. To Gregory, they appeared fearless as they navigated over the most dangerous terrain. He was in awe and knew he wanted to strut like that someday. Strutting was real power, or so he thought. Rule number 5. Power comes from how fast and strong you are. Every day at the pond, the geese had races. They lined up in a row, and at the same moment started to furiously flap their wings, propelling them forward across the very top of the pond. Gregory practiced and practiced, building his strength and his stamina until he could win every time. Gregory was building a repertoire of power skills that, in combination, were giving him the edge he had always dreamed of. Or so he thought. Rule number 6. Power comes from your ability to peck. Gregory's next challenge was to learn how to peck. This was his biggest fear. He saw many geese lose their beautiful feathers in pecking fights, but he knew this was the true test of a goose's power. It was something he was living for. He noticed that the best pecks did not dismantle feathers as much as scare others to submission. Those geese who mastered this skill were the most revered. Or so he thought. Rule number 7. Power comes from how well you keep other geese in line. Being the best, being the lead, being out in front, that's what a goose lives for, and Gregory's time had arrived. Looking back, Gregory saw all the other geese following him, and he thought, power comes from how well you keep the other geese in line. However, being in the front created new and different challenges that Gregory had not been aware of before. He was now responsible for the success of others. One cloudy day, a group of hunters suddenly ambushed Gregory and his geese, sending shots into the air. Gregory began using his power skills, like honking, strutting, and flapping, but instantly saw they were useless. In a moment, he made a leader shift that changed his life as a leader. He turned to the other geese and started a hunker station. Together, the geese strategized and split the line into three. A new language of leadership was born. Power was being shared, and Gregory trusted the geese impeccably. The hunters never caught one goose that day. That night, Gregory reflected on his experiences. He realized he was learning a new lesson more important than all of the power rules. During a moment of crisis, Gregory had turned to the other geese, trusting them to become leaders. And they did. Up until this time, he thought leadership was having power over others. Now, he discovered that instead of seeking power over others, he could create power with others. Gregory gave this new idea a name, one that never existed for him before. He called it co-creating. On that day, Gregory uncovered the wisdom that sharing power releases the leadership instincts in others. And that was also the day he decided to share his leadership secret with everyone around the world.